Cowherd, is Antonio Brown actually on Jerry Rice's level?
Yeah, from the eye test he is. You can't compare stats and eras. First of all, Jerry Rice was in the perfect system. Joe Montana, an offensive pioneer. I mean, it was a perfect time.
Bill Walsh.
Yeah, I mean, they were ahead of the league. Whereas Antonio Brown is a defensive-minded head coach. Doesn't have as accurate a quarterback, has more of an over-the-top Big Ben quarterback. The culture's different in Pittsburgh. And it's a different era. So, I mean, when I watch the games, I don't need to say, it's like Michael Jordan, LeBron. LeBron's bigger, stronger, faster than Michael Jordan. That's what my eyes tell me. He's bigger, stronger, faster than Magic. When I watch Antonio Brown and Jerry Rice, Antonio's faster, his hands are as good, his routes are as good. He just doesn't have the system, but my eyes tell me that's as good a receiver as I've ever seen in my life.
I would agree with you there. When I watch Antonio Brown, what I see is an unstoppable force. And it doesn't matter what the defense does. It doesn't matter who he's playing. Antonio Brown's going to get his numbers. He's going to make his big plays. That's what I always felt like with Jerry Rice. It didn't matter who was playing him, what the coverage was. Jerry Rice at some point was going to punish the other team and impose his will. That's what I see from Antonio Brown. It's very hard to do that at the wide receiver year after year after year after year. Antonio Brown's been able to do that. Look, he needs to win a Super Bowl to really establish himself on Jerry Rice's level. But as an individual performer, I think he's every bit the player that Jerry Rice was, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Now, having the pleasure of playing against Jerry, I never got mossed by him. But anyway, coaching against Antonio Brown for about 6 years, being in the AFC North, I agree with Colin. You can't, different times, throw that out the window. Just throw it out the window, because you can't count on that, because it's just two different type of eras in systems. I think Antonio Brown is pretty good. I really do. Do I think he's Jerry Rice? I have to say no. I think he's exciting. I think he's dominant. He's a game changer. But now, had to defend him a few times, we took him away, and we knew how to take him away, because at times you can get after him and he would cower down. Jerry Rice never did that. Every play, whether run or pass, he got after it. Antonio Brown didn't always do that, and there's film to show that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, this guy is fantastic. He tilts the coverage. You have to have a way to take this guy away. It's just like the argument, you've had today's athlete, to me, back in that era, like you say, Jerry Rice played 20 years in the NFL. I mean, this guy's got another 10 years to go at least to be compared to him, because he was great for all those years. Even when he was in Oakland, he was still great. I mean, it was amazing. So, he's got a long way to go on the longevity, but when you're picking older players, it's like saying, well, so-and-so is better than Walter Payton. I'll always say Walter Payton's the best because I grew up with Walter Payton. I saw him, how he blocked, how he caught the ball, how he ran. This guy was always tremendous, Rice. He'd always score touchdowns. That's one thing he always did. Before anybody made a huge red zone TV thing, this guy lights it up 10 times more than everybody else. So, Antonio Brown's he's in the top 2-3 receivers in today's game, but Rice was number one back when he played.
I agree.
I had somebody that played for the Raiders that guarded Jerry Rice in his heyday. It was a safety. He said, the most amazing thing about Jerry Rice is you almost knew what the pattern was going to be. The Niners ran about 12 plays out of 16 sets. Yeah. You could know what the play was with Jerry, but his routes were so precise, and Joe was so accurate, you couldn't stop him. The argument Mark makes, if you knew the route Antonio was running, you'd have a better chance of stopping him.
The argument you just made, I find fascinating, because I think basically what you just said is Antonio Brown's not quite the competitor that
I agree.
Jerry Rice was.
Jerry Rice
competed on every play, run, blah, blah.
Every play.
Here's what Antonio Brown's supporters would say. Jerry Rice wasn't a factor on special teams. Antonio Brown is.
Yes.
He's a factor in the return game. And Jerry Rice had no impact, I don't think, on special teams. Didn't have that kind of speed. I don't think he was that type of player. But your point about competitor is a great point that I hadn't thought of. you kind of swayed me there. I think it's similar to go to Colin's favorite subject he already went to. It's like my argument with LeBron versus Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I just don't think LeBron's quite the competitor that Michael Jordan is.
That's fair.
That's kind of the argument you're making here. Cowherd, you okay with the Hall of Fame doing this?
No, it's too petty. Listen, rock and roll stars, Marlon Brando didn't show up for the Oscars. You acknowledge their presence. I have no problem with a rock star or an athlete being a diva. I'd prefer they aren't. But rock stars and wide receivers have been divas. You have to be above that as an institution. That's why we have governments and regulations and, the SEC and grown-ups, boards, commissions. They have to be above the pettiness of an individual.
They also have to stay on brand, and we have to remember what the brand of an athlete is as opposed to a rock star. Athletes are supposed to be role models, and I know we've gone away from that, but that is the original position of athletes throughout history as role models. Rock stars have never been role models. They've been divas and drug users and a bunch of other things and entertainers, and so I go back and forth on this. They are stooping a bit to T.O.'s level, but I don't blame them because they have some serious regrets. These voters made a mistake putting Terrell Owens in the Hall of Fame. He's not worthy because of exactly what we're seeing here. He was a bad teammate, and he's being a bad teammate now to Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, the other guys going in the Hall of Fame in this class. He's taking attention away from them and placing it singularly on him. T.O.'s on brand. I don't mind the Hall of Fame saying, you know what, you don't want us, we don't want you either.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's like he just doesn't get it. He's being put in the Hall of Fame. This is a team sport. Football is the greatest team sport there is. You have all these individuals playing, 11 guys at one time, and functioning as one unit. But this guy makes it all about himself. I think it's a disgrace. Look, one of the biggest pride things there is, I'm sure, for an athlete is to get put in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things in my life was being a part of Aeneas Williams getting into the Hall of Fame and being called out as somebody that helped him get to where he was. That made me feel so good. It made my, just so much pride in you because you feel great. You work your whole life for a compliment like that in front of everybody, the national stage, the Hall of Fame speech. I mean, it's outstanding. This guy doesn't deserve it. It's a shame. He's as productive as he is, but numbers only say so much. How about the character of the person? How about the character of his teammates, the guys that made him so great? It's a disappointing thing, and it's disappointing to all the people that actually got him there, that helped him get there, that you don't even go to this wonderful thing. And I can't wait to go to Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi's. I saw Saps. I mean, it's something as a coach you're proud of, but I can only imagine as people, your teammates, are even that much more proud because they're that much more deserving.
I agree because I was just invited by Ray Lewis to his Hall of Fame,
Right.
which was almost brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune of being around 7 Hall of Famers a couple days ago, 2 of them wide receiver Hall of Famers. And to a man, they were upset, they were mad, they were disappointed. But I agree with Colin why the Hall of Fame is doing what they're doing. Just don't even mention it publicly, that you just go ahead and do it and don't get down to the dirt with T.O.
We know football has a history that, your quarterbacks are generally pretty regal and your defensive players can be a little crazy. They got to blow stuff up. And wide receivers are the NBA players of the NFL. Kind of on an island, individual artists can be diva. That's part of the, singers and songwriters make the Music Hall of Fame. Producers, directors, and rock stars, is that it's okay that the Football Hall of Fame has the regal quarterback, the stately general manager, the brilliant, innovative coach, and the diva wide receiver.
Again, Kyle, he's not the first wide receiver to go.
That's correct.
And everybody else that has gone and represented everyone else and represented their family and all the people that went there. Look, I'm a bit sympathetic because there is a cost to getting into the Hall of Fame that I don't think T.O. can afford. And I don't know if he has support from an individual team because, again, it can cost, for the Hall of Fame to do it right, it can cost you up to $500,000. And teams normally carry the weight for that. Looking at what the Hall of Fame is doing, though, makes me think they're aware that there was some support for T.O. If he had come, they were going to help him with the cost. I think this, to me, speaks to we're only getting a tiny bit of the headache T.O. has been for the Hall of Fame since he got inducted. I think that his class going in with him, I think they're offended, and deservedly so. And I think the guys that are already there, if I'm Howie Long, if I'm Jerry Rice, if I'm Jim Brown, if I'm Deacon Jones, if I'm any of the...
Anthony Miller.
You're not showing up?
Yeah.
You're not showing up? We're welcoming you into the greatest fraternity in all of sports?
What's his argument? I mean, that he didn't get in. There's only been, out of 27 receivers, there's only been 6 that got in on the first shot. So what? I mean, and Randy Moss is one of those 6. So he's hurt that he wasn't the first time out.
Yeah.
Because,
I
but there's
got
only
news
been...
for him. He can't hold Randy Moss's jock.
Exactly,
I mean,
but
give me
there's
a
only
break.
been 6 out of 27. Man, just be happy you're in.